I will be showing Wildland client which is for accessing the containers. And for now, let's start with a very simple demo of local functionality. So no cloud backends, no sharing the containers elsewhere, just on my computer. So first, so I have command WL, which is a shortcut for all the Wildland commands. And I have to first create a user, which creates a keeper for me. And I could optionally add the name for this user. This is not important. Then I can, let's say that I want to create a container for this user. So I'll do container create. And I need to specify at least one path for the container. So let's say that this will be a container with cat pictures. So let's say this is photos, animals, cats. And I can also specify another path because a container can have multiple paths. So this will also be under interesting cat pictures.
Can you also add a timeline, maybe, just to show the idea? Like time / the date.
Another path.
Another path. So it would be like time, and this is 2020, 9/25, and I can also call it cats. Okay, so this created a new container manifest. I will show it in a moment, but first we need to also have some. This container needs to be backed by some storage because I want to put some files in it. I want some files to be accessible in this container. So for now, I have a folder with some cat pictures on my computer. So I'm going to create a storage. So I do storage create local for this container. I didn't give a name to this container. So unfortunately, I will need to specify it by UUID. Okay, and then I will say that this is path home user. Okay, and now what it created. Let's look at my local first file system. So this is internal. This is internals, and normally the user will not need to see this unless they want to do something more advanced. But first, user manifest got created. So this is a user manifest, and it really says only what is the fingerprint for the public key and what paths does this user have, and I could modify this and add more paths or change the paths. This is the user manifest, and it really mostly specifies that the user is also identified by this path, and yeah, this string is the fingerprint on of the public key. And as you can see, the manifest is signed. So this will be the same for all the manifests, that their content is before their content, there's a signature of the content. Okay, so moving on, we created a container, and this is our container. And you can see that this container also specifies the signer. It specifies a list of paths. There's also a special path that is supposed to be unique for the container, UUID. And there's a URL for the storage backend and for the storage manifest. And you can see that here the storage manifest is stored locally, but of course in real life scenario, there could be also URLs somewhere else, HTTPS probably, or some, yeah. And finally, there is a storage manifest. And the storage manifest, it's this one. The storage manifest just points, this is a local storage manifest, so it just points to the directory on my local computer, but also it could be a manifest that is storing a path under a path in some cloud storage like S3, WebDAV, or some other storage engine. Okay, and now for how it actually works together. So what I need to do is to first start the driver, and then I can just do container mount and identify the container. Again, I forgot to give it the name, so it's a bit awkward, but still. Okay, and now in my Wildland directory, I can see some paths. If I do 3, yeah, so you can see that these are the two cut photos that I have in my in my directory, and they are visible under different paths. Yeah, so we can see here, and you can see that, for instance, I can browse to photos, animals, cats, and I can open a picture, and it's a cat. Yeah, so things seem to be working.
Can you navigate through another path there?
Yes, okay. So there's, for instance, I can, here, let's imagine that we have some more directories for other dates, but anyway, I'm browsing to this one, and I also have the same folder, and the same files are accessible there. Actually, this is not the whole story, because, oh, it froze for me. Okay, no matter. If I list all the files, including the hidden ones, I can see that this container is also, first of all, it's under this path. So every container has its own unique path. In case I have two containers mounted under the same path, so let's say I have several containers mounted here, I also have them accessible under their unique paths. And all of this is also visible under the namespace for my user. So you can see that here is the .user public key folder, so that you can distinguish between containers from different users. And of course, my containers are also mounted here, because this is the default user for this machine. But probably, if I mounted containers from other people, I would want them to be under this namespace. Okay, so this is how it works, and I can now talk more about the implementation details, or do we switch to something else right now?
Maybe you can now attach S3 backend there.
Okay, so it's my turn.
Okay, so let's demo some more advanced functionality.
Okay, so let's switch. Okay, so I will also create a container for cat pictures, but I will start from the beginning. First, I will start by creating a user. So I've got user manifest, which we've already seen, and some keys created. And then, so maybe start with cats. So I will create a container for cats. Is it visible? Yeah. So something very similar. This time I will also assign a name to container to avoid this long OID paths.
Can you explain how the name of the container relates to paths of the container?
So there are basically separate things. Paths of the containers is something what's inside the container, where this container is visible, where is it mounted, and where in the forest it is placed. And the name here is just some local configuration for this client, some my friendly name for this container, and that is also used in the manifest file name. It can be any valid file name. So it's just a convenient local alias. Okay. So let's create this container, and then I will create some storage, but this time I will add a cloud storage. So there will be storage create S3, and I'm attaching it to container cats. This is this local friendly name, and then I give an URL to S3 bucket where my container will be stored, and in this particular case it will be in a subdirectory of this bucket. And I also add an option with index here, which will create a simple file index So this bucket can be also browsed as a website, which will be useful for sharing it publicly, because for that we use website hosting of S3 bucket feature.
Can you explain also how did you get access to this very bucket that you are using here?
So at this stage, I needed to create this bucket manually in the AWS console.
Yes, to sign up for AWS,
Yes.
the manual, and
Yes, and that was quite a lot of work. And also I needed to create some specific user and also provision credentials in this environment. So right now this is a manual step, but we will talk about this part later. So let's create it, and we can also create another. We can connect multiple storages to the same container. So I will create and connect another one, which is HTTP index, which specifically is using this index created by a free backend, but HTTP index backend is using plain HTTP URL here. So it works assuming, depending on the access policy to the bucket. But if the bucket in Amazon is set to be public, then this URL can be accessed without any authentication, which is convenient for sharing something publicly.
is HTTP index only read-only?
Yes, this one is read-only backend, and I will use another nice feature to store this storage manifest I'm just creating inside container manifest. So for this private read-write authenticated access, I have separate storage manifest here, and for this. Oh, sorry. It is here. And for this public one, I will store it directly in container manifest. So let's see, and we can see how it works this way. So I have. Oh no, we don't. Okay.
Maybe Vim?
Okay, better. No, this window was bigger than the screen. Okay, so let me put it at the top. So here we have two storage backends attached. One is pointed by an URL to storage manifest, and this one is obviously available only on my machine because it's file on my local host. But the other one is directly in the container manifest. So whoever has access to this container manifest will also have access to backend configuration here.
And the first one allows you to actually add files, but the other one only to read.
Yes, exactly. First one allows me to modify, to upload some files, download it, whatever the Amazon policy is set, and the other one is just read-only access. Okay, so let me start this thing and mount it. Container, maybe not. Mount cuts. One moment, please. It's empty. Okay.
The bucket is empty.
Yeah.
Just a corner case.
Yes, just one.
So normally what the backend does is, well, it calls S3 to list the contents, but I guess this was a corner case that we didn't handle yet.
Yeah, actually, I can modify it here, so you will show also some part of the code. Where is it?
Actually, I think this one is in your local source, in your local tree.
It is a plugin.
It is a plugin.
It is a plugin.
Yeah, it is a plugin.
Okay. Backend.
So you can see that for S3, there's actually a separate Python package that is a plugin for.
Yes, and there is a bug.
Yeah, live bug fixing.
Yeah, and this one is easy. Okay, but if you can see that, I'm not sure where is the top of this screen. So this is a function that lists the content of the container. Okay, I need to restart this thing, right?
Yes,
Stop.
you need
We'll
to start. And start.
Yes, and let's mount it. This time it worked.
Can you show, still, it would be instructive to show that the bucket is empty and then you add files and the bucket will get,
Yes, I'm going to upload some files this way.
Yeah.
Because currently it is mounted, maybe 3. So I have this file structure, and similar to what you've seen before, there is an file hierarchy for my user, but also I have this unique ID for directory of photos, cuts, and some timeline, and all those directories are empty right now. So mnt photos cuts. It's empty, but I can since
it's an empty container.
It's empty container.
But we
Yes.
find names and those names you see here.
Yes, exactly. And then I can copy some files inside. So I have some cuts photos prepared. Maybe all of them.
All of them. You're very generous.
Okay, so it's uploaded, and I have 3 cut photos. And now you've seen this copy operation was not really instant, because it actually uploaded the files to the bucket. And S3 CMD, no, AWS, S3.
Just to make it clear, the MNT that is in the home directory, this is the mount point for Wildland.
Yes.
It was a standard cp command, so it wasn't aware of an S3, whatever.
No, what is Wildland? What was the
You need to start with S3, then : / right? You need to provide an S3 URL, so like S3 : / right?
Something like this. I think this was the bucket name. So there is cuts directory, and inside / and inside we have 3 pictures. Okay, I'm not going to show the pictures yet. I will show them after I share the container with someone else.
Can you show again, just before we switch to the storage manifest again?
So this is one storage manifest is inside.
The one inside, the one that was used to actually upload the file.
Yes, the one that was used.
Can you show the content of this?
Yes.
Oh, it does contain the access key.
It does contain access key, but it's temporary one. So there are there is container path type S3 and URL and credentials to actually upload.